Hi, we're doing Joshua 4 in long form content because I can't be bothered to make lots of separate shorts about it. So I'm just going to read it out loud, and as I read, comment on things that stand out to me. After the whole nation had gone across the Jordan River, the Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Choose 12 people from among the people," which already happened. We've already chosen 12 people. Choose 12 people from among the people, choose one from each tribe. Tell them to get 12 stones from the middle of the river. They must pick them up from right where the priest stood. They must carry the stones over with all of you, and they must put them down at the place where you will stay tonight. So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from among the people of Israel. There was one man from each tribe. Now, they've already crossed. It started with they've already crossed. Are they now going back in to pick up the stones? I thought they'd already crossed. So Joshua called together 12 men he had appointed from among the people of Israel. There was one man from each tribe. He said to them, "Go back, it is going back, to the middle of the Jordan River. Go to where the ark of the Lord is. Each one of you must pick up a stone. You must carry it on your shoulder. There will be as many stones as there are tribes in Israel. Carry it on your shoulder. Big stone. Big stone, not little pebbles. These stones will serve as a reminder to you. In the days to come, your children will ask you, 'What do these stones mean?' Tell them that the Lord cut off the flow of the water in the Jordan. Tell them its water stopped flowing when the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord went across. These stones will always remind the Israelites of what happened there." So it's an idol. They're building like an idol, like a memory thing to remember that. Definitely not falling. To remember God by, to remind them about what God's done. It's essentially God and Catholic, but God says don't have idols, so I assume it's not an idol, but then I don't really understand. So is it an idol or is it not? So the people of Israel did as Joshua commanded when they took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan River. There was one stone for each of the tribes of Israel. It was just as the Lord had told Joshua. The people carried the stones with them to their camp. There they put them down. Joshua piled up the 12 stones that had been in the middle of the river. Do you think there was like people fighting over having the biggest stone? It was totally people fighting. That's just, it's always where it goes. If you have people with stones, people are like, "Oh, I want to have the biggest stone." Which tribe do you think managed to bring the biggest stone? Do you think it mattered? Joshua piled up 12 stones that had been in the middle of the river. They had been right where the priest who carried the Ark of the Covenant had stood, and they are still there to this very day. The priest who carried the ark remained standing in the middle of the Jordan River. They stayed there until the people had done everything the Lord had commanded Joshua. It was just as Moses had directed Joshua. All of the people went across quickly. As soon as they did, the ark of the Lord and the priests also went across to the other side. The people were watching them. Among the people who went across the river were men from the tribes of Reuben and Gad and half of the tribe of Manasseh. The men were armed. They went across ahead of the rest of the people of Israel. It was just as Moses had directed them. So now Moses' word is becoming synonymous with the law, because that's what they're supposed to be following every step of the way, doing what the law says. But they're doing just as Moses had directed them. There were about 40,000 of them. All of them were ready for battle. They went across in front of the ark of the Lord. They went to the flat lands around Jericho. They were prepared to go to war. That day the Lord honored Joshua in the eyes of all the people of Israel. They had respect for Joshua as long as he lived. They respected him just as much as they had respected Moses, which is saying something, because Moses hung out on the mountain with God. So he had a lot of respect. The Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Command the priests to come up out of the Jordan River. They are carrying the ark where the tablets of the covenant are kept." Surely Joshua knew that. Why is God reminding him? So Joshua gave a command to the priests. He said, "Come up out of the Jordan River." Then the priests came up out of the river. They were carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord. As soon as they stepped out on dry ground, the water of the Jordan began to flow again. It went over its banks just as it had done before. On the 10th day of the first month, the people went up out of the Jordan River. They camped at Gilgal on the eastern border of Jericho. Joshua set up the 12 stones at Gilgal. They were the ones the people had taken out of the Jordan. Then he spoke to the people of Israel. He said, "In days to come, your children after you..." Sorry, it was a weird sentence. He said, "In days to come, your children after you will ask their parents, 'What do these stones mean?' Their parents must tell them, 'Israel went across the Jordan River on dry ground. The Lord your God dried up the Jordan for you until you had gone across it. He did it to the Jordan River, and he did the same thing he had done to the Red Sea. He dried up the Red Sea ahead of us until we had all gone across it. He did it so that all the nations on earth would know that he is powerful. He did it so that you would always have respect for the Lord.'" So it's wild that they do this. It's also wild how many times it repeats. I feel like I read the same thing like 4 times in one chapter. So why does it do that? What does that mean? God never gives a reason for it. It's weird that I feel like it's doing the biblical hyperlinking for us by outright telling us, "This is why we're telling you again." And I feel like I don't know if I trust that. But also I don't know why. Why wouldn't you trust that? Surely you should trust that. That's what it's actually saying. I think that's all I have to say about Joshua 4. I'll probably go back to the shorts. The long form just seemed easier today.